Today is a very special day. Today is just another day in some ways, but for me it is the day that we are formally announcing my intention to run for a second term in the United States Congress with your help. Are you ready for that? A lot of you believed in me 2 years ago. 2 years ago, you know, we had a bunch of rhetoric, right? You didn't know who I was. You didn't know what I was going to do, but you knew who my opponent had been, and you gave me a chance. And I'm very grateful for that, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And there are people here, like the men and women of organized labor. I see you out there. I know who you are. I know Beth Soto is here. I know Hudson Valley Alpha is here. I know the Westchester Putnam Central Labor Board is probably here. Those people believed in me when nobody else did, and I want to tell you, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And not only did they work for me, they showed me something. They reminded me about something, about what I should be working for when I got there. And so I'm back 2 years later asking for your help again, but this time you got more than rhetoric. This time you've got a record, right? You know who I've been. You know what I've done. And I encourage you to look at the record. You hear about dysfunction in Washington, you're looking at somebody who passed 13 bills through the House of Representatives. I did it in a freshman in the minority. I'm pretty proud of that. And I'll tell you something, that's 12 bills more than my opponent had done, and she was in the majority. And one of the bills I passed was one of the ones she passed just because we felt it was actually important. And guess what? I'm going to make it a law. She never did. We will. Because of those 13 bills, 3 have already been signed into the president into law. Why? Why? You can clap for that? Yeah, look. Because we focused on things that made sense. Each of these measures were bipartisan. Each of them had a partner on the other side of the aisle. Because they made sense. Things like making our dams safe again in the Hudson Valley. We've got 100 of them that are in trouble. We need to inspect them and keep them safe. Things like reforming the crop insurance program, passing a good farm bill for our farmers, and passing a crop insurance bill that I wrote that'll get crop insurance for their losses and their needs for the first time in American history. That's a law today because you gave me a chance to serve. And things like decreasing the disability wait times for our veterans. You heard Jim Williams talk about it. It's disgraceful. A guy named Ed Kakis called me and said, I've been waiting 800 days. 800 days to get an answer on my disability claim. Ed Kakis is a Vietnam veteran. He lives in Sparrowbush, New York. He's a Republican. And he said, we got behind on the bills. My wife got sick. She passed away a year ago from cancer. I can't afford to stay in the house unless I get my disability claim heard. And I can't get an answer out of these guys. He said, I will sell the house, Sean. I'm a proud man. I fought for my country. I don't want to be foreclosed on. I just need to get an answer out of my own government. I fought for this country. Why am I fighting my government? It's a very good question. Nobody should fight for this country and have to come back and fight their own government. And we went to work, and we got Ed Kakis' benefits, and Ed Kakis is in his house today. That's because you gave me a chance to serve in Congress. My mom and dad put 5 of us through college on 1 income. What middle-class family today can put 1 kid through college on 2 incomes? That's the kind of country we used to be. And he had a job waiting for him when he got out of the service. And it was a good job. And even though it wasn't a lot of money, he could save on that income. And he could plan for a future on that income. And he could buy a house. And his kids could go to school without a lot of debt. And he could buy a car. And he could get to and from work. And he had a government that had his back. He had a government that was doing things like the GI Bill, and investing in schools, and investing in infrastructure, and investing in the middle class. And we had a tax system where the rich paid their fair share, and the middle class wasn't always getting squeezed. And that's why he was able to do what he did. Look, they made good choices. My dad didn't go out to dinner. I can't ever remember my mom and dad going to dinner. I don't ever remember them taking a vacation. Look, they worked hard. They sacrificed every day of their lives for their kids. But they could do it. They could make it. And that's how we get to this place. That's how I ended up for President Clinton in the White House. And let me tell you something. There are a lot of things I'm proud of in the Clinton administration. There's a lot of things that we can be proud of about that. But the proudest day I ever had in the Clinton administration was when I walked my old man and my mom into that Oval Office, and he walked across that long carpet in that big room over to the Resolute desk where the president sits. And the President of the United States stood up, walked around that desk and looked my dad in the eye, and he shook his hand. And you know what? He knew who he was. He knew how hard he had worked. He knew what his struggles were. Because that's who we were working for in that administration. That's who that government cared about. And that's what we need to do again in this country. We need to have middle-class people like my old man rewarded for their hard work. We need to have a government that believes in them again.